Yeah, I should have hit record before I said that. That's a bummer there, Jared. Mr. Jim there. All right.
Okay. Hey, do you want to rate a apology?
Yeah, we can rate some apologies.
All right. Have you heard of Jessica Krug, I believe her name is?
No.
Oh, Chatty Chad. Well, how about I start by reading the apology, and then I'll tell you who she is. Get ready, everyone. For the better part of my adult life, every move I've made, every relationship I've formed has been rooted in the napalm toxic soil of lies. Not just any lies. New paragraph. So will she put like 3 of those stars in the middle? You know.
Yeah. Okay, no, I see what you're saying. Right.
I feel like that's worth noting.
Right. It's like header 1. It's like header
yes.
1.
Please see below. To an escalating degree over my adult life, I have eschewed my lived experience as a white Jewish child in a suburban Kansas City under various assumed identities within blackness that I had no right to claim.
Wait, what?
First, I have eschewed my lived experience as a white Jewish child in suburban Kansas City under various assumed identities within a blackness. Assumed identities within a blackness that I had no right to claim. First, North African blackness, then U.S.-rooted blackness, then Caribbean-rooted Bronx blackness. I have not only claimed these identities as my own when I had absolutely no right to do so, when doing so is the very epitome of violence, of thievery and appropriation, of the myriad ways in which non-black people continue to use and abuse black identities and cultures. But I have formed intimate relationships with loving, compassionate people who have trusted and cared for me when I have deserved neither trust nor caring. People have fought together with me and have fought for me. And my continued appropriation of a black Caribbean identity is not only in the starkest terms wrong, unethical, immoral, anti-black, colonial, but it means that every step I've taken has gaslighted those whom I love.
So what you're telling me is this woman has
what she's telling
numerous,
you, Chad. I'm reading her apology.
Right. So she has assumed numerous fake.
This is her. I mean, this is not a great picture, obviously, but that's her, Jessica Krug.
I thought. Okay. Wow.
Now it's called Rachel Dolazaling.
Right.
Rachel Dolezal invented something.
Why would you do that? I don't understand why you would assume a fake identity. That's man.
Yeah, but not
honestly,
only
man, that poor woman.
Not only has she been doing that, but she was like not masquerading, but she was like an activist in the black community, and she was like,
how though? Like virtually or?
Oh, that's a great question. We're gonna have to wait for this to go by.
Yeah, let's wait.
Right.
Doing the test.
Yeah,
let's hope it's a test. It is the first. And it is
Saturday noon on the dot.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Well, welcome to noon, everybody. Breaking the fourth wall here.
So, oh man.
Let's just wait.
Now, how about you guys tell us? Does this bother you? All right. Well,
I wonder. I don't know how much of it the mics pick up.
It's pretty loud. It's pretty piercing. But hopefully this will give me time to find
Dolazaling. Oh man, so she was an activist in the black community.
You can even hear her accent if I can find it.
Why?
I know I have it somewhere.
I mean, oh man, I just don't get why you need to assume a different identity, even if you want to be an activist.
Yeah, that's a great point.
That's
a great point.
Too bad.
That's a great point.
I feel bad for that woman, man. Honestly, I mean, I don't know. I think you have some issues if you have to do that. To be honest,
that's very nice of you that you feel sorry for her. I mean, I understand it. It's like, yeah, like Yeah, it's such an odd thing to do.
Right.
Is that it? Is that the end? Is it over?
I don't know.
They work just in case. Okay.
What is that?
Here we go. What do you mean? What is it? Ooh, that's creepy, isn't it?
It is.
All right, here it is. Do you want to hear her accent?
Yeah.
Let's play a new game. Does she sound black? Let's see. All right, here we go.
I'm Jessa Bombalera. I'm here in El Barrio, East Harlem. You probably know this neighborhood because the Hosanna Melissa Mark Viverito, who used to be the speaker of your city council, sold my fucking neighborhood to developers and gentrifiers. So I got a couple of things to say, and when y'all come on and tell me my time stopped, fuck out of here. It's been 7 hours.
Can
you pause it? She went from, like, if you listen to the very beginning to there, like, it's...
Sorry.
It was like there were four...
Pause.
It was like there were four different people.
Yeah,
start from the beginning again for me.
She doesn't have the accent down. Like the it's sloppy. She has
and it gets too tiring for her and she gives up on it. Listen.
Oh, you're saying because she was going full like Latin act like
yeah.
But then she's like, "Oh, I can't speak that much Spanish."
I'm Jessa Bombalera. I'm here in El Barrio.
Bombalera.
You probably know this neighborhood because the Hosanna Melissa Mark Viverito, who used to be the speaker of your city council.
Oh yeah, that was one of her fake names, Bombalero.
And gentrifiers. So I got a couple of things to say, and when y'all come on and tell me my time.
Yeah, because then it kind of turns from like she starts off really because of the name. That's what it is.
Comes
it's
in
the
real
name.
hot.
It's not that her accent's good. It's just that she has a name
Right.
that she's gotten down that she could say Bombalero.
Yeah, but it just.
But then once she
comes
starts
off
going,
fake.
then she just sounds like a New Yorker trying to make up a Hispanic accent.
Right.
The cops in the pandemic, when the MTA was strapped and you supported putting more cops on the MTA. Fuck out of here. We know where you're calling.
She sounds like a bad actor.
Right. She does. I mean, maybe because I knew she was a white woman. I just hear white woman.
Yeah, I mean, if we would have properly played Guess the Race,
Right.
maybe you would have been like, oh yeah, no, she sounds like she's straight from Puerto Rico or the Caribbean or something.
Right. Oh,
And
that's
she's
just ridiculous.
So yeah, how do you? So let's rate the apology.
Oh man. I mean, what rating are we going, like, out of 10? Where are we?
Well, so far we have one apology that we've rated, and it was the guy that apologized for using the a slur for gay people on air. And during the apology, he continued to call the game. So he's like, I made a huge mistake, and that's a home run for Chambers.
Yeah, that was so
that's 3-1
ridiculous.
for the Capitals, or for the Nationals.
Right.
And he's like, what I did was wrong.
And I'm sorry to the people that
I'll
pay
probably
me.
never get on this mic again.
Right.
He also said that.
Yep.
Yeah, he said I apologize to the people who signed my check.
Yep. Apologize to my friends and family. I made a mistake.
And I gave
right out into left field there with.
And if I remember correctly, now I believe I gave that about a 5 or a 6. Because like he apologized somewhere in there, and it was terrible because he called the game in between. And he started with the first person he apologized to is the person that signs his check. Unless the person that signs his check happens to be gay, I don't know. But
Right.
But he didn't like. But it could have been worse. It could have been much worse. I've heard a lot worse.
Sure.
And so I'd give that about a 5, or I think we gave that about a 5 or a 6.
I would give this woman's probably a 4.
Really?
Yeah.
I'd give it about a 7 or an 8. I think it's pretty good.
Really?
It's pretty good.
Really? Okay. Why? Tell me why.
She seems to be. Now listen, I'm not saying all's forgiven. People are being too mean to her. Let's be clear.
Well, I'm sure the internet has.
That's the thing. The only mean quote unquote things I've seen are just jokes on the internet. Like it's all jokes.
Right. Which are kind of well deserved.
But so the reason I think it's pretty good. I'll give it a 7. It's a little too much.
Okay. See, that's why I give it a 4.
But what I like about it is she seems to be very aware of what the problem is. I like that she's spelling out what she's doing wrong.
Okay. But what does she say that she's going to do to remedy what she's done wrong?
Well, this is why it's not a perfect apology.
Okay.
And the thing is, that's always the hardest part to nail. Because there's really nothing that you can do, especially something like this. Once the internet gets a hold of you, there's not much you can do, especially for something like this, that's going to stop people from just making fun of you anyway. You know, like that's unavoidable.
Right.
And so and there's nothing where people are going to be like, all right, yeah, no one's going to be like, all right, stop making fun of her, guys. You know, like I can't imagine what
that's not
she'd
how
have
the
to.
internet works anymore.
Yeah. So I don't even know what you really can do. But I think that's why it's so. I mean, it's hard to get a perfect score in anything, and I think that
True.
You know, I don't know what it is that would nail that perfect apology, but maybe I know when I hear it. And this was not it, because you're right. That's a very important part. It's like, yeah, all right, you recognize what you're doing is wrong, but it's like, okay, you're still just gonna go on living your life fine. Like you're gonna be fine.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know. But I also maybe.
And how do we know she's not going to do it again?
I don't know. You feel like people would recognize her now, right? Anytime someone looks up her name,
Maybe.
it's like, oh,
But what if she doesn't
like
use her name?
Like for example, Rachel Dolezal. Rachel Dolezal, she doubled down. She changed her name. Did you know? Like she changed her name to like an African name. Remember we talked about this, didn't we?
I think so.
Like her name's no longer Rachel Dolezal. She has some
Right.
sort of like legit, not legit. I mean, it's not legit. But she has some
She
sort of like
legally changed her name
to like some some African name, and so she's like, oh no, this is me, baby. Man, I so wish I could find Rachel Dolezal's. Oh, here it is. Also known as Nkechi Amare Diallo.
Oh man. All right. Well, I mean, it's her legal right to change her name. You know. Can you read it one more time?
No. I mean, I can, but I don't. I'm like, but the funny thing is, I was like, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, but it's like, I mean, a little part of me is like, who cares? This is Rachel Dolezal we're talking about, but it's like, it is a real name, I guess, probably. Nkechi Amare Diallo. Interesting. There must be something about the last name, because Dolezal, Diallo.
Oh, maybe.
I don't know. It seems similar.
Interesting theory. Yeah, makes sense.
But maybe, I don't know. I just made that up.
Makes sense.
But yeah, she doubled down on it. She's like, oh no, this is me, baby.
Right.
I feel like, I'll say this one, at least from what I've seen so far, Dolezal seems to, Nkechi seems to seems to believe it more than Jessica does. I feel like Jessica Krug seems like and I think she had a couple of different names too. She's more just like playing a role, you know?
Right.
But Rachel Dolezal, and listen, I'm not defending her, because I think what she does is ridiculous too. Her belief that she's actually black is ridiculous too. But she seems to actually be convinced that she's black.
Right.
Bumbalero here seems like she's just having fun, you know, or like playing a game almost. Because she mentioned in her thing that she's done multiple different sort of, I guess, characters, what you call them.
And I think they've just called her out on her game.
Right. Yeah. Well, I think that's also, I saw on Twitter somewhere, who knows, this is Twitter meme news. But
Right.
but I saw somewhere that
quality of news.
I saw somewhere that people were like, like, don't feel sorry for her, because like the only reason she's even coming out is because people found out about her, and if she didn't come out, she would have obviously she would have gotten blown up.
Right.
So better to come out on your own than get blown up like that. So people were saying that, like, don't feel too sorry for her. Like, the only reason she's even coming out now is because it's like yeah, of course, duh. But it's not. I can't imagine all of a sudden she just feels bad about it, and she's like, no, now I need to just make a giant statement about it.
Right. Yeah, it's like you're not sorry you did it. You're sorry you got caught.
So
right? Or is that unfair to
I'm
say?
with you. I'm with you. But I'd be more likely to
crazy
believe
story.
that she'd probably. I know. I don't have any reason to believe anything. But the only thing I know is she seems like she's doing it for like Rachel
For
Dolezal
giggles?
seems like she actually is about it and believes it. But this Bumbalero is just having a fun time with characters. She's essentially preparing for a role or something. It seems like
Yep.
a role that we all know is going to go to. Who is that? Is it Jessica Alba that always gets those? She always gets made fun of for getting like roles of like an Asian person or something
Could be. I'm not sure.
Scarlett Johansson? I don't know. One of those.
I have no idea.
They're very
I don't
similar to me. All
Couldn't
One
tell
of
you,
those.
Jared. But I think you might happen to.
Oh yeah.
Possibly know what.
Did you rate the apology, by the way?
Yeah, I gave it a 4. Remember?
Right. You
Spread a little love.
But
you
now
were
I'm
not impressed.
I was not impressed.
So what was it that made you so unimpressed by it? That made it a 4? Because you're
It's
saying
just-
that was worse than the guy that continued to call a game mid
well, but
apology.
see, this is a different medium of an apology. He was apologizing mid-game. She's apologizing via a
Sure.
letter,
So you think his is braver,
in a way.
but he also has that platform. She doesn't have that platform.
Right. Well, but see, once again, then why? Like, why are we even hearing about this? You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, if she wasn't, I don't know. It's just different.
I understand. Listen, we all have our different scoring systems. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with your
Right.
score. I'm just trying to hear you out. And
I guess-
I kind of hear where you're coming from a little bit, but I think
to me, it comes off a little insincere in a way.
I understand
I
that.
guess.
I understand that. I think she kind of did beat a dead horse a little bit with it. Like she could have cut out a little bit of the like what I did wrong kind of. I mean, not even the what I did wrong. It's just a little flowery. I feel like.
Right.
I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. But I still think that it seems to at least show what an apology is supposed to do. It does a better job of showing sincerity than the guy seemed to do that was apologizing to the guy that signs his paycheck who
Right.
calling the game. You know,
Right.
it just doesn't seem as sincere to me. But I hear what you're saying too.
Yeah.
Spread a little.
Well, anyways, yeah. So my first shout out goes out to, believe it or not, all the people who donated some money. I also donated. I think it's not a lot, but I think I donated like $20. During
Dude, that's a lot.
The
I think that's a lot.
the ice bucket challenge. You remember when that was a big thing?
What year was that? Do you know what year that was?
I'm
Let me
not
guess.
sure.
Guess before you look.
Probably 2018.
No way, dude. It was
Probably
like
2018.
2014. We were in
No.
college.
No, it was after we were done with college, I think.
No, we were in college, or we were at least just
you
out
sure?
of college. It was not 2 years ago.
I think it was 2 years ago.
No, hold on.
You don't think so? I think it was like 2 years ago. Anyways, so
I'll look it
what's
up.
happened though is people donated, through all that money, they've done some research, and research has supported that some new treatment may help slow the progression of ALS. So I was always wondering,
Really?
you see all these videos of people doing this challenge and donating money.
It's 2015.
Oh, okay, all right.
but they continued to do it in multiple years after. But
Right.
the first time that it was quote unquote reintroduced was it started in 2014.
Oh, good call. So we were still in college. You were right.
Ah.
Yep. Good
That was
call,
right.
Jared. I was slipping on some gator piss there. But anyways, I think this is great, though. It's always good to see when people donate money, it's going towards a good cause.
Yeah.
And it has actually helped out that cause.
And it kind of, and I imagine it makes you feel sort of good about the $20 you put in. It's like, oh, I was part of that. I helped with that.
I mean, I guess. I honestly...
Well, you should. I feel like you
think
should.
so?
And 20 is not a lot because they're like when people say like any bit counts as long as you just contribute is more important than how much you give. That's
Right.
true. I generally believe that stuff. And so, and $20 is not nothing. People gave less than that. That's for sure.
That's true. Well, I like your mindset, Jared. We'll talk more about mindsets later this episode. But first, I got one more shout out for today. We've given him shout outs before because he's just one of the coolest guys in rock and roll by far. Mr. Dave Grohl, the guitarist and singer-songwriter for the Foo Fighters and drummer from Nirvana. He has accepted, this is such a cool story, Jared, he's accepted a 10-year-old drummer's virtual drum-off challenge. So Natty Bushell played a cover of Everlong, and then he responded with a video of his own. And so they're doing
Is
this
Everlong
kind of
from
Foo Fighters.
Foo Fighters?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. You've heard it.
Is that
before,
one of the
I'm sure.
popular ones?
Yeah, it's very, very popular.
Yeah, I probably have heard it then.
But yeah, so anyway, so he messaged them and said, you win round one, because I got something special in mind. So then he sent, her, I think, another song. Anyways, yeah, it's really awesome.
Is that him right there?
Yeah.
That's cool.
I mean, he is one of the coolest guys ever. And the funny thing is,
It seems like he's a cool guy. I've heard nothing
Right.
but good things about him.
Right, and the funny thing is he is playing the for the drum challenge. It says on his daughter's drum set.
Oh, that's cool.
So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
because I think he has two girls. But yeah, so Grohl played about 30 seconds of Everlong on his daughter's drum kit. And so I haven't played that song since the day I recorded it in 1997. Our drummer, Taylor Hawkins, plays that song on tour for us almost every night.
Dude, something like that can keep a 10-year-old going. Like,
oh, yeah.
That just like a legend like that, acknowledging you and virtually drumming with you. I feel like that can keep a young kid going for a long time and keep them motivated and excited about the drums for a long time. That's awesome.
And what we can do, Jared, is we can play this video, I think. And if we don't have it coming on the speakers, we can just listen to it. And because this girl's good. I mean, I've watched it. She's good. We'll see.
I feel like maybe I've seen her before.
Nope.
She's got great faces too, playing faces.
So this is Crooked Vultures, I'm pretty sure.
She's got a great playing face.
Yeah. Oh yeah, she gets into it. So that's
Is she screaming? Is that what I'm hearing?
I'm not sure, but see, I want to see the first one where she plays Everlong. Okay, so this is Dave Grohl playing Everlong. Yeah. But see, I want to see if it's... No, okay. Anyways, but yeah, so it's really... Oh, this is probably the one. Yeah, duh. Of course, it's the first one on top, Jared, of course.
Is she
British?
British?
She's British.
I challenge you to a drum off.
Yeah, she's... Okay, so
Dave
she's British.
Grohl, I challenge you to a drum off. Oh, of course I know this song, yeah.
Yeah. And she's got she's drawn on her drum kit.
And her outfit is awesome too.
Yep. Yeah, got purple headphones, purple skirt. Oh yeah. She's fantastic. This girl she's covering the Foo Fighters Everlong, and yeah, like you said, Jared, she's got the facial expressions.
Yes.
I thought they said she was 10, 11, or 12, somewhere around that age.
That's awesome.
She's definitely talented. So I think this is just a heartwarming story,
Yeah.
So shout out to Dave Grohl, and also and Nandy Bushell as well. I think this is just such an awesome
Dave
story.
Grohl.
Challenge you to a drum off.
I
Awesome.
love that.
It's awesome. Dude, I wish I had a cool British accent all the time. But you know what we do that is pretty cool?
Yeah.
Is some untranslatables. That's right.
If we get the right untranslatables, we could do it a British accent if we wanted to.
That's right. Brilliant. That's right. So untranslatables are idioms, phrases, proverbs, axioms.
That's what I meant.
Words that don't translate one-to-one into English. And I will get us started today. All of mine today are Mexican Spanish.
Okay.
And here we go. My first one for you is Hablando del Rey de Roma.
Hablando.
Uh-huh.
Well, I know
Del
bailando
Rey.
is to dance.
Or
dancing.
Hablando, hablar.
Oh, to speak. Speaking.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Hablando.
Speaking of del Rey.
Speaking of is that the bird or something?
The king.
The king. Oh, right. I knew that,
king
actually.
De Roma.
Speaking of the king of Rome.
Yeah.
Is that like Speak of the Devil?
Hit that ham horn, my man. Very
Speak
good.
of the king of Rome.
Very good. Yeah. Speaking of the king of Rome. Yeah, we say speak of the devil. Mm-hmm.
And that essentially means I was just talking about you, and then you happen to show up right behind me.
Yep.
My first one is Italian, and it's cavoli riscaldati. Cavoli riscaldati. Reheated cabbage.
Oh, isn't this like a relationship that
Oh, how'd you know that?
I think we've done that one before.
Oh, that's very good.
Yeah, it's like a relationship that was on the rocks, or you broke up, and then it's to not get Yeah, reheated cabbage
I think
is
that's
never
perfect.
good. Yeah,
because it's like,
true.
That's, like you can't put the. Or it's like reheated pizza, or like microwave pizza.
Hey,
or,
whoa.
No, excuse me, I had to say microwave
well,
pizza,
microwave
not
pizza's
reheated.
not great. Yeah.
Well, exactly. That's
Put that in the oven though and get that crispy.
that's. I didn't even realize I wrote down below that. I would say microwave pizza.
That's funny. That's funny. My next one for you,
Hey, no microwave pizza.
Jared,
Yeah,
is
you're right. I'll put my phone down.
is Spanish, Mexican Spanish, as I said. Corto de luces, which means short of lights.
Is that like
Corto de
kind of like
luces.
dumb? Like you're not all there up top.
Yep.
What would we say in like we have something about light on like
Not the brightest bulb. Not all
Thank
the
you.
candles in the candle shop.
is that one of them?
I don't know.
I've never heard that one before.
I'm making them up.
Feel a little
Not
warm out here.
not the sharpest needle in the haystack.
the sharpest needle in the
I'm just
haystack.
mixing up different, idioms, but yeah. But I think that's a funny one. Yeah.
Yeah. I have one more, and it's Quebecois, Quebec French. Se prend pas pour de 7-Up flat.
Which means
I think the person will not be mistaken for a flat 7-Up. 7-Up flat.
7-Up flat. Sacre bleu. I have no idea.
Thinks the person.
It's
this
like
person thinks they won't be mistaken for 7-Up, for flat 7-Up.
So this person thinks they're hot stuff.
There you go. Yeah.
They're overconfident.
Mhm.
They're cocky.
Yeah.
Arrogant.
There you go. Yeah.
Okay.
They think their shit doesn't stink, as we might say here in the United States.
That's fair.
Yeah.
My last one for you is Mexican Spanish. Dame pan y dime tonto.
Well, that was bread, isn't it? Pan.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Is dame? Is that like to take or something?
To give?
To give.
Mhm.
Give bread or give nothing or something like that.
Give me
Some of it.
bread and call me stupid.
Give me bread and call me stupid. Is that where it's like, well, slap my ass and call me Sally kind of thing?
What does that mean? Tell me what that means. I don't even know what that means.
You don't know
Jared.
when someone says that? I don't even really know
I've
what it
never
means
heard
either.
someone say slap my ass and call me Sally. You've heard people say that? I've never heard that.
It's like
before.
it's like a well I'll be or like well gee willikers, you know.
Nope.
It's like I'm shocked, or, like oh well like I can't believe it.
I would say this is
It's like
a
you've
phrase,
taken me by surprise.
This is a phrase.
Well, slap my ass and call me Sally.
Yeah, unfortunately not. I wish it was,
Okay.
but this is
Well,
this is talking about someone who people might criticize because they're at the top.
what's the literal again?
You could say they gave bread and or they that guy said give me bread and call me stupid.
So it's just like do what I say and shut up.
Basically, do whatever it takes to get to the top.
Oh, interesting.
Like, give me bread and call me stupid. Like, I don't care what you think of me. You can call me stupid. Give me that bread, though, because I'm going to the top.
Bread is meaning money.
I don't know. But
Okay.
here it just says, dame pan y dime tonto. I think that's a cool one.
I like that. I like
Yep.
that.
Yep. But, it kind of relates to today's episode idea
say,
a little
yeah.
bit. This idea of the abundance mindset, which is this idea that, you have things in abundance. It's
Yeah.
pretty straightforward. But I think there's a lot we can learn from this mindset that can really enrich your life and make your life a lot better. I feel like if you come from a place of abundance instead of scarcity, your decision-making process is different. I think you can make more logical decisions, better decisions, and I think it's just overall.
What do you mean make better decisions?
Like if you have to do something because it's your only option, just because it's your only option doesn't make it a good option, right? You want to be able to have some different options. So abundance mindset means you.
Yeah, I was about to say. I maybe you should explain to me what abundance mindset is versus scarcity mindset. Before, is this somewhat more school shit? By the way.
Yeah, kind of.
Okay.
So some of it just has to do with if you lose your job, can you get a job somewhere else? The abundance mindset would be if you are in a position where your bosses treat you unfairly, or the job isn't right for you. You can leave that job if you need to.
Hold on. So you're telling me that the abundance... Did we do an intro on this episode? No, we didn't. That the abundance... follow us on Untranslatable Pod. No, I'm kidding. No, actually do, though. So are you telling me that the abundance versus scarcity mindset has nothing to do with,
You can apply it to anything.
When I hear that, I think of like Americans loving their large SUVs and their trips to Costco and their houses with a lot of space and their yards and their a lot of toys.
Yep.
Versus,
I mean, that's very abundant.
and in sort of using that as almost like a conduit towards showing success, showing wealth, showing happiness,
Right.
versus, maybe other cultures viewing that sort of abundance as a sort of a like not a positive thing.
Right. Well, I think there's different types of abundance, right? So that's like abundance of material things, right? I'm talking more, which some material things it's good to have abundance of. Abundance of money. Money is a material thing.
You think it's good to have an abundance of money?
If you have more money than you need, of course it's good.
I mean, I guess so, but some
course.
people have a weird relationship with money. Some people.
I mean, if you don't know how to use the money, then
no,
sure,
but I'm saying some people don't feel like they're like we should live in a world where you have a bunch more money than you need.
I mean, I think you should have a bunch more enough to the point where if something happened, you are financially
Sure,
stable.
okay. Yeah,
I'm not
that's fair.
talking about being a billionaire. I'm
like
talking
Bezos
about
levels.
Yeah, I'm not talking Bezos levels. I'm talking you have some investments. You could
You
live
have enough
off of
for a
those.
rainy day,
Right.
Yeah, I don't think that makes you a bad
Right.
person.
But I think the idea of the abundance mindset is the key here. Is that you if you lose your job or something bad happens in your life, that you can find other options.
So the flip of that, the scarcity mindset.
Yep.
What would that be?
The scarcity
How would you explain that in
mindset
relation
is
to
like
that?
if you're in a job, right? Say we just graduate college, and the only job you can get at that time being is maybe some kind of low level job, even as like and this is no disrespect to people who work this job, but you're a cashier or something like this, and you're making a little bit above minimum wage, but it's not enough to really make a dent in savings. You have college debt to pay off potentially if we're talking to our American listeners right now, and the scarcity mindset would be, it's not even really a mindset, but at that point it's a reality is that if I lose my job, I'm screwed. If you live paycheck to paycheck, you lose your job, but the abundance mindset would be, okay, so you had that job. But then maybe on one day during a weekend or 1 or 2 nights a week, you do some other job. So you have another type of income stream coming in, right?
Right.
So you have 2 streams of income. Then you are starting to realize that if you lost this job, you could either do that job, maybe like not full time, but maybe take on more hours.
So the abundance is just not feeling like you're trapped or like
exactly
stuck.
I mean, scarcity really means like this is all you have or all you can get.
I guess so, yeah.
You know what I mean? Abundance mindset means...
Well, see, that's the thing about like American workforce, too, is like it's set up to make you feel like you have no other option,
Right.
Like they sort of make it hard for people to want to take chances because it's like, this is how I get my health care at a great price.
Right.
Means work, even if it means working at a job I don't like. I don't really have the luxury to shop around for jobs.
Right. But what I'm saying is, if that's a job you have, try to find a way to earn.
Bless you.
Oh, thank you. To earn a little bit of money on the side doing something. If you do that for a while, and I just think it's smart. Abundance mindset also has to do with not being tied to one specific thing, right?
Yeah.
So
well, that's kind of the point of. I mean, that's what they say the future is going to be, right? This sort of. They say the future is in like gig economy and stuff like that.
I mean, it already is like that in a lot of ways.
Yeah, but it's not sustainable.
I think it is if you
like Uber and Lyft and companies like that. They do not get great. You do not hear great things from the employees. They don't get insurance. They don't like it.
Well, they're not employees. That's why they don't get insurance. They're a contractor.
Well, of course, yeah. But I think that's part of the problem with the gig economy, at least right now.
Right. But at the same time, too, I mean, if you can, provide some type of service and
or
make
if we
some
had
money,
universal health care.
Well, yeah,
that might make the gig economy work a little better.
That's a whole different conversation, though, right there.
Would that actually help the gig economy? Like,
I think so.
Universal, because I feel like a lot of people, a big part of the job is not just pay, but health insurance.
Yeah.
Like that's part of the quote unquote
Especially
pay.
if you have a family.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Exactly,
100%. Yeah, I completely agree. But yeah, so I mean, the important thing about the abundance mindset is that, like I've realized this the last 4 or 5 months when I was doing a lot of job interviews. There were a lot of jobs where I did the interview and honestly, I wasn't going to be heartbroken if either they didn't want me for the job or if it just didn't meet my standards.
Yeah.
And I think it's really an interesting time in your life when you are in a job interview and you don't think, oh my God, I need this job.
Yeah.
Right. Or I've turned down some things because it's like, I don't need, I could use the money, but I don't need the money.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I've definitely I've searched for jobs as someone that had a job and was looking and wanted a new job, but wasn't in a rush because I was still getting paid and stuff. But then I also have been in a situation where it's like you're on a timeline, a deadline. It's like, all right, I need to find a job, and it's definitely a different kind of job search that I do. I mean, I'm way more picky when I still have a job. I'm like, all right, what is it that I really am interested in? It's like, is this actually something I'm interested in? It's not. There's no point in me applying to something that I'm gonna dislike, just like I dislike the current thing I'm doing, just to find a new thing to do.
Right.
So when I don't have a job, it's like, all right, I'm gonna cast a wider net because I'm not saying I want this job. But I have severance for this many months, and there's a little part of me that's like, I mean, I need something after this is over, so
sure,
I got to figure something out.
Right,
and it is a different mindset, yeah. But I think that the best way to have that abundance, at least in the United States, there's got to be a better way, and let me know because this is a very American buy stuff. Capitalism way to think about it,
right?
But the best way to have that sort of abundance is to be self-employed,
yeah,
and is to have your own sources of income and not rely on companies.
And the way to do that is have some type of skill. Develop some type of skill. It could be anything.
I feel like I don't have any skills.
I would disagree with you. I mean, you're a smart guy. What do you do 40 hours a week? You're doing things that, you just got to find a way to kind of market your skills. I'm not saying I'm rich. I'm not even wealthy, I would say at this point, but I've made some money, like making music for people, teaching, obviously, stuff like that. There are ways you can.
I think I'm just not creative enough with what I think I could do is probably more of what it is.
Right. But I think the key is if you were to develop even more of an abundance mindset, it's kind of like, well, if you could figure out a skill that, is marketable and you can make money off of it, I feel like the abundance mindset also kind of has to do with willing to give that a try, because it's like, you can afford to try it.
So what bucket would you put those people that say have had someone that's, I've worked at this company for 45 years and it's always been good to me. And is that just giving into your scarcity mindset?
Well, not necessarily. I mean,
it's hard to say. Job, I guess.
Well, sure. And it's also hard to say, we don't know what everyone's life is like. They might have a family to take care of where they can't just up and leave that job. And maybe the pay is decent. Maybe they're okay with it. But at least just me, I've had, the experience where I've worked for 2 or 3 different, colleges at the same time or teaching for, a couple different people or even for myself. And it just makes a big difference, Where
did you first learn about the scarcity versus abundance? Because you did say this was some school shit.
I forget where I was. I was watching a video on, I think it was actually on business. And it was about how, when you open up a business, you want to try to come at it with a mindset of more of abundance, more well-informed abundance than if you just operate anything in scarcity. I
don't understand what that means. I feel like I still don't understand what you're saying though. When you operate in scarcity?
Yeah, just when you think that your options are limited. You want to be able to put yourself in a position where you have a lot of options. So whether that be for jobs, whether that be how you want to take your business, whether that, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm starting to understand what you're saying. Yeah.
Like scarcity just means like lack of options. It means it means resources, money, ideas, anything is scarce.
Right.
And I think it's better to have a lot of ideas, even if you don't. I think if you have a lot of ideas, they might not all be good ideas, but I think a lot of ideas, the likelihood of getting a couple decent ideas versus not having many ideas at all, you know what I mean?
So I'd argue that what I said before about large SUVs and pickup trucks and trips to Costco and extra large meals, that's not the same kind of thing as what you're talking about.
No. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm talking more of like the metaphysical abundance, whereas like you're just talking about, lots of stuff, which is also abundance in a way. You have more stuff than you need.
Sure.
But I'm thinking more so you need, just like job options, money options.
Where do you think would be a good place or an ideal place to live an abundant lifestyle? It kind of seems like the
Asia.
United States. Oh, Asia's a good...
Asia. I think a lot of, at least for us Westerners, if you can find a job over there or if you can work remotely and live in Asia, the cost of living is so low that, number one.
What do you mean by Asia?
I mean like Thailand,
Steely Dan,
Philippines, Vietnam, just countries where they still have like a good standard of life, but it's just, to rent an apartment, the cost of living is low.
But you're saying that this would, the way that you would imagine living life there would be having a lot of different jobs,
maybe one or
a lot
like,
of different sources of income,
like at least 2 to 3 different sources of income. Ideally, 2 to 3 sources of income, and then also at some point, own some. If you can really get into abundance with your finances, then you can, invest in a property, start making good investments. The whole point of the abundance, living with, the abundance of things like, job options and money and ideas is that you have more freedom to do what you want, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whereas if you just keep the same job, if that's a really good paying job and you're super happy, I'm not saying you shouldn't do that. I think that's awesome. But the reality for a lot of people our age is unless you are like really high up in a corporate company, or you're a contractor making your own money, doing really well for yourself, you might have to string along a couple jobs to make a decent enough money to get your savings right.
Maybe the way I would say it, for just so I would understand it better for myself, and maybe I might be wrong, let's see, is living your life on your own terms.
Yes, absolutely. 100%.
That's what I'm getting the vibe here.
Yep, 100%.
So okay. So you think if you were... Are there? Now maybe you couldn't. I don't know. Could you think of any examples of places where not you can go to sort of live life on your own terms or to live abundantly, but that's sort of like in the culture? Because I feel like I don't know. At least when I think about the U.S., I mostly think about. I have always been in like sort of these old school corporate cultures, but I think about like this. This sort of. These milestones of 20 years, 30 years are like, and that seems to be what is more admirable than someone that's hopped around a bunch.
Right. Which to some degree I understand, but at the same time, at a lot of these companies, even if you work there, and correct me if I'm wrong because I don't work really in the corporate world, but from my understanding of the corporate world is, you could work at a company for 5, 10, 15, doesn't matter. And a lot of places, they could just fire you on the spot, can't they?
That's true. I 100% agree with that. But there is always that chance.
Right. But see, that's why I'm saying
But I think that's why I also think that, like, I do think that there is... I'm not saying I even agree with the concept of that sort of loyalty to a company.
Right.
Because it's like, that loyalty doesn't really go two ways. Yes, they pay you well and they have good, whatever they might have as far as
But they could
benefits.
replace you tomorrow.
But you are very disposable.
Whereas,
and the company can go on without you. They don't need you.
And that's why if you have an abundance mindset and you think that, all right, well, I have this one good job, it makes me happy, it's one solid income stream, but you're making, in theory, if you're making a lot of money from that job, invest that money in other things that can also make you money.
Right.
And that's what I mean by the abundance mindset. If you think of things more as scarcity, you know, and we've talked about this idea of, and you're the one who mentioned it, actually, like lifestyle creep, right? You
Yeah.
start making more money, so you have to buy a bigger house, a nicer car, da-da-da, right?
Well, they say the average American doesn't even have like a month's worth of security fund for themselves. And this is, you know, of all income
Right.
brackets, not just, you know, poor people.
Right. But see, that's why I think this idea of the abundance mindset, but you have to work towards it. It's this, if you want to reach this level of abundance, it's not like you can just think, oh, I want to be more financially secure. I want to.
I think the problem with abundance and in getting into that mindset is like instant gratification is a big problem.
Yeah, you have to delay gratification is key.
Yeah.
And it's not
And
easy.
especially, I mean, I don't know, but I only know about the U.S., but it's so easy. They make it so easy between credit cards or car loans or house loans. Like, it's very easy for someone they make it very easy for someone to get in over their head financially.
Right.
And then I think that also leads to that scarcity mindset, because then even if you can't afford the place or it can't afford whatever it is you buy, there is that feeling of it's like, well, I got to keep this job
Right.
if I want to keep paying this, you know, big bill I have every month. Dude, that's something that's always terrifying to me. I guess it's part of the lifestyle creep thing, but it is that sort of like not getting in over my head over bills. Just, I never want to get to the point where it's like, why am I paying for this? Like, what is this I'm paying? Like, why do I, like, is this a
Right.
bill that you pay for that you don't even really recognize what you're using it for? That's one of my, a big fear for me.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So I think it's really important, you know, if you, even if you have a job, you know, there might be that stormy day, you know, at some point where you lose your job. I mean, you know, I lost my job in February, you know, and for a couple weeks I had, you know, I wasn't working at all, had no income, started, you know, giving, you know, some lessons and doing some teaching
Yeah.
and stuff, you know.
I mean, I never, I guess, hold on one second. I never, I guess, fully lost my income, but there was definitely, you know, but I lost my job and I was on severance, and there was definitely that sort of, all right, you got however many months, and then you're on your own. So there was definitely that feeling of like that sort of that fear where
Right.
it could all go at any moment.
Right. So, I mean, and the key here with this abundance is, yeah, have a couple thousand saved up, you know, to our American listeners out there.
They say 3 months you should have. Is it that 3 months of like salary you should just have on ready to go?
I think, yeah,
Liquid?
just in your, yeah. Yep,
That's a lot of
in
money.
a bank account. Yeah, for a lot of people that is a lot of money, you know, but you have to, I don't know, you just have to try to save when you can and, you know, put it in places and I don't know,
Yeah.
there's, the big thing for me I realized, because I haven't been doing it as much as I used to, was I spent way too much money in graduate school eating out. You know?
Yeah.
And ever since this pandemic happened, you know, I go once in a while and will grab lunch for myself and my parents, but I try not to eat out too much.
Yeah, that's a tough balancing act, especially now that. Well, it's a little easier now just because we've been in it for a while. It's a little bit more normal, but especially in the beginning, like that was like one of the few enjoyments that it felt like we had access to, or even one of the few sort of like access to the outside world.
Right.
Was just like doing that. But yeah, no, I'm with you. All right, do you want to go on to the song of the pod?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we actually do have a song this episode.
Yeah.
And here, actually, I'm going to play it on here so we can talk about it.
And we would call this, is it Brazilian Portuguese?
Yes.
It's Brazilian Portuguese reggae.
Yes.
And as soon as Chad types it in, he'll tell you what it's
Oh,
called,
it's
because
right
I don't
here.
think you ever told me what it was called.
It is called Sinto Liberdade.
Is Cinto
Is that-
5?
I have no idea. That's a great question. And it is by Chimarruts.
Chimarruts, okay.
Chimarruts. But yeah, it's a fantastic song. Starts off with sounds like some ukulele, some slide guitar, and then that reggae kind of drum beat drops.
Yes.
And they have a female singer, and her voice is just soulful.
Yeah.
How would you describe it, Jared?
Soulful, probably. I think you took the words right out of my mouth. I like it. It's an interesting. I don't want to say clash because that makes it sound like they don't go together, but it's like a combination of genres that I never really crossed my mind. What do you call that Brazilian Portuguese? What's that genre?
Samba?
Yeah,
Bossa?
I don't know. It's got like that Brazilian sound, but like with that clear reggae, melody and sort of instrumentation.
Right.
It's something I guess I never really crossed my mind. But when you hear it together, it's like, yeah, this fits perfectly. It works.
Yeah,
I like
it does. Yeah, and they got horns in this song.
It's very what do you call it? Not chill vibes.
Mellow,
bro.
laid back.
Yes, laid back vibes.
They're staying breezy.
Yes, thank you. That's what I was thinking of. It keeps you breezy.
and the drum beat, it's reggae, so it's still upbeat, but the tempo of the song itself isn't fast.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. I think
interesting.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that does make sense. It was a good choice. I like it.
Yeah, I think if you give this song a listen, it will definitely put you in a good mood. Check it out on our YouTube channel, Untranslatable Podcast, the Song of the Pod playlist, Sinto a Liberdade
Betcha.
by Chimbarut. So check it out. It is definitely a good one. So scarcity and abundance mindset. I think the key with abundance mindset, Jared, is realizing that you do have options. It's different throughout different walks of life. When you're young, you may not have that, ability to have the abundance mindset just yet. You sometimes have to, get your feet on the ground, get a little bit established, learn some skills, have some job experience, get an education, something like that, but if you're even 18 or 19 listening to this and if you have a skill or something that you can do or learn a trade, if you can start your own business at that trade, you can have a lot of options.
What stopped you from starting a business, Chad? Trying to make money on your own. Not getting paid by someone else.
I don't know. That's a good question.
Have you had any business ideas?
Oh yeah, I've had a couple of them.
not including real estate related. Not that counts, obviously, but
other than real estate stuff, I've thought about teaching businesses. I would love to have a guitar shop or a recording studio and run that.
Yeah, but
as
you
a
don't even know
business.
that much about audio or.
That's not true.
You like audio engineering?
I could learn a lot of that stuff.
That's true. Listen, I'm not telling you couldn't.
But yeah. So you asked me why I haven't opened up a business. I'm just trying to tell you business ideas
fair.
I've had.
That's fair. I shouldn't be so
coming
harsh.
at me real hard here, Jared. But yeah, I don't know. I guess I can ask you the same question though, huh?
Yeah, but I haven't really had any business ideas. I don't know. It's for the reason I haven't done it is it just seems so probably overwhelming.
Right.
And for some reason I don't know why I don't know. I just always doubt myself, and I'm like I don't know.
Right.
I don't want to get it over my head or whatever. And I'm very afraid of it is a big risk. Not the thing about this scarcity mindset or whatever is usually that is applying to people that are sort of stuck in some sort of corporate job. But the good thing about being stuck in just some sort of job, the good thing about being stuck in a job like that is that essentially guaranteed paycheck at least while you're there.
Right. Right.
It's not guaranteed forever, obviously,
right.
as we said, but it's
Right.
guaranteed at least while you're like, all right, well, I'm probably not going to get laid off now.
Right. But if you can use some of that money to try to put yourself in
Sure.
a better position.
I'm also kind of a hoarder. I've started to notice.
You're a hoarder?
I'm kind of a hoarder, yeah.
Yeah, that's not necessarily a bad thing.
It's hard for me to spend money.
Hey, that's not necessarily a bad thing at all.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that's smart.
Sorry, no, go ahead.
Yeah, I think that's smart, to try to save your money, use your money in a smart way to get you to a point where...
So do you think, is that maybe like a weakness of someone that's trying to live an abundant lifestyle, of someone that's too afraid to spend their money and too afraid to I guess
think
take financial risks.
I think you should be able to take financial risks because you can and you want to, not because you have to.
Because
whenever you have to do something, I think you're coming from a point of scarcity.
Right.
You have to do something, right? I have to take this job because I have no money. Okay, take that job for a year or two. Really try to save your money, be smart, make smart decisions, so you can gain some experience, so you can find a better job, so you can make more money, or do some contracting on the side, or start your own business or whatever.
Yeah, me. Not spending money does feel like a place like the scarcity mindset, because it is sort of just that like. I mean, it is obviously a what if, and obviously I need like a security fund, but like even like risking some of it and investing some to see what I could do or whatever. There is just sort of like what if something goes wrong, and it's just like it's very limiting. Just constantly afraid that there's going to be some sort of catastrophe, and all of a sudden I'm gonna need every last penny I have, and I feel like I can't believe I bought that or invested in that.
And that does come from a point of scarcity because the truth of the matter is, money can always be made. At the end of the day,
ask our government apparently.
Well, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, if you can solve someone's problem, if you can provide a service or a product that people spend money on, you can make money. I mean, it's not rocket science. Obviously, it's not that simple, but that's the point, though, is that if you look at money as a resource, money's not really a finite resource, right? I mean. We have, you can sell stuff, you can offer your time for money, become a personal trainer, a yoga teacher. Right. There are all sorts of different things you can do to make money.
Something about working in like a company or something does sort of make you feel like it's like a security blanket. It makes you feel very safe,
Well, and I can say the same when you work at a university or something.
Yeah, I mean, any
too.
sort of place where you just get like a steady paycheck, and it's very and like by some reliable company or some reliable institution that will be able to pay you. Right, it is very comforting, and it's very hard to break out of that.
But you can't depend on that for always, forever.
Well, yeah, and I should know that as good as anyone. Right, I've already been laid off before.
Well, you do. I think you just. We haven't.
Yeah, but that's also
enough.
I think led me. I think even more into the make sure my security fund is looking right, rather than make sure I'm in a place where I'm making money next time something like this could potentially happen, which seems like a more abundant way to look at it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Rather than just make sure I have a little like my nuts saved away for a blizzard or whatever squirrels do.
Right. You're making me think of Ice Age for some reason.
I was thinking of the SpongeBob.
But see, that's a scarcity mindset. The Ice Age squirrel that's always going after that one acorn. You got to have more acorns than just one. Yeah, you need more than one acorn, Jared.
Yep.
That's for sure.
Yep.
And
that caused extinction. So
right. Well, the other thing is too. I mean, if you have a hobby, find a way where you can make a little side money from your hobby. I've definitely made money off of guitars I've sold.
Yeah.
I've played gigs, I've made money.
Yeah.
I turned down a couple gigs, lessons. I mean, a lot of people ask me what got me into teaching. I was a guitar teacher before anything. I started teaching guitar lessons at like 13 and 14.
Really?
And I was making some money off of it.
Oh, you're getting paid then?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, it was only $10 for half an hour, but
I mean, that's real money when you're
you're
that age.
You're 12, 13, $10 for half an hour is good made.
That's real
money. And I enjoyed teaching guitar. It's fun. I would love to, continue. I would love to teach guitar at like a college or university. That would be awesome.
Like an academic level, not just like teaching lessons.
Classical and but you do still teach lessons on a one-to-one basis usually if you're a guitar teacher at a place like that.
Kind of like I think that's what Zupstrom did. He would,
he was a composition teacher, right?
Yeah,
he would do probably one-to-one lessons with students.
Yeah.
Where they'd probably exactly. So, but when you do that, I'm sure a lot of musicians, they usually have a couple different streams of income. It could be gigging. Some of them have endorsements. I
think and also contrary to popular belief, musicians, when we hear musicians, we think of like I don't know, Miley Cyrus or something,
right?
But most of them aren't rich people,
right? A lot of them play like bars, small venues. They make enough to make a living, but
I think our artists definitely, in general, have to have that entrepreneurial mindset to stay alive. And then a lot of them are, working side jobs while they're also trying to, sell their art in some way
Right.
or another. So you kind of have to constantly have that. And you also, as an artist, a lot of them have to be willing to invest in themselves with stuff,
Yep.
with
Equipment and everything.
stuff.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to have that faith in yourself.
Well, I remember I was talking to somebody that we went to college with that was studying music, and I don't remember what I was showing him something, and we were like playing music, and he was like, why? I forget what kind of amp he was using, but he was like, why does your tone sound so much better than mine?
I'm better than you.
And that's exactly what I said. No, but
My touch.
I explained to him though that like and he came from, when I was in high school, I had, some okay, guitars and music equipment because I worked 16 to 20 hours a week in high school. And when you're in high school and you don't have bills, that $300-400 bucks
toys.
a week goes to toys. And at that age, that's a lot of money for toys. So I bought
I unplugged the headphone. Sorry.
I scared the crap out of me here. I bought, a couple nice guitars, a couple nice amps, and so, I brought those with me to college. And some college kids who were guitar majors just didn't have, nicer equipment. And so when you would jam, they were still good guitar players and good musicians, but you could just tell that there comes a point when, you could give a good musician any crappy equipment and they'll make it sound good. But if you give them the option of having better equipment, it'll always sound better.
We talked about that when I was taking piano lessons with the keyboard, where it's like,
Right.
my keys are weighted, but they don't. It
doesn't feel like a piano.
Anything like a piano.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so, but once again, this idea of abundance and options. For me, it was I had worked and saved that money, and that was something that was important to me, right? And now, if I really wanted to get a new guitar, I could sell a couple of the ones I have and easily, use that to
Not take any money
finance.
out of your pocket.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's nice when you can have a hobby where you can do that. Like there's a guy I follow on YouTube. He really likes watches. And he's got some really rare watches and has made enough money off those to buy newer ones. And stuff that.
I've seen that on every level because obviously I know car people like that too. Where it gets to a point where, like whatever hobby you have is almost sustaining itself.
Right.
So maybe someone has 4 cars at this point, and if they're like, all right, if I want a new car, I can. I have this much garage space and I have space for this many fun cars. Obviously I need one for daily or whatever.
Right.
And it's just like, all right, I can it's almost sort of like what can I get rid of to get and I've seen actually watch people do that too, where it's like, all right, well I'm going to get rid of 2 kind of cheaper watches and get one nicer one, for example.
Well, I'm actually planning on getting rid of 2 cheaper guitars and upgrading to a really
I think
nice
that's the
one.
way to do it.
Yeah. It is. But see, once again, you're operating in a place of abundance. Where if you're in scarcity,
but interesting, you're operating in a place of abundance and then living to live more scarcely almost.
But is it scarcely if that's your choice?
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with scarcity.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with scarcity per se. Scarcity might be another word for minimalism.
Well,
maybe.
but see, when I hear the term scarcity, I think of not having enough to meet your needs, or being stuck to a point where you can't make a choice. So that's why I would say that scarcity is actually different. That's the way I view it.
But I don't know if that's the economic. Maybe I'm thinking about it in economics because scarcity is like an economic term, and I don't know if that's how they would define it, like not enough to meet your needs. But that's like sort of like the basis for like how you're,
there's less resources, right?
Yeah,
right. Well, it's good.
But in the sense that I'm putting it, it's like, well, then you will value the stuff that you have more.
More, right?
Yeah,
which is a good thing. Yeah. Well, I don't think the abundance mindset necessarily means you need to have a giant house and all these things. I think it's more about you just being able to, like you said, make the choices that you want to make for you. And not have to be forced into something because you don't have enough money or
slave.
Right.
Only I can say that, by the way. Not be a slave to your job or your insurance,
really anything
or whatever. Yeah,
anything,
or your mortgage.
Right. your job, your mortgage,
your car bill or whatever
Yep.
it is.
Your friends, I hate to say it, but even your
Yeah.
friends, if you have friends who mistreat you, if you
Get it out
have
of
a
there.
scarcity mindset, you're going to think, "Oh my gosh, these are my only
These are my only
friends. I
friends,
can't say
yeah.
goodbye to them." But if you have an abundance mindset, you think, "Okay, well, either sometimes people just grow apart and people change. That's fine. Or maybe these aren't good friends,
Yeah.
And so you say, I or maybe you don't say anything. You just disassociate yourself from them. I don't know.
Yeah, disappear.
Right. But yeah, so I think it's definitely important to have options. And for me, that's a big aspect of the abundance mindset.
Yeah, you've really got me thinking. I went into this having clearly no idea what we were about to talk about. But it seems like this is something I like. I feel like I'm always sort of partially talking about how I want to work on in my head, and I didn't even realize what the wording for it was. But this is what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just having options, being able to do what you want to do, but it takes work. It's going to take a lot of effort and time. And I'm
encouraged too. I
Right.
think that's even what I'm
Yeah.
more concerned about. And self-education.
Yeah.
That's another thing I'm not great at. Is like teaching myself how to do. I'm good at teaching myself how to do fun stuff.
I think you don't
Like,
give
I taught
yourself enough credit.
I taught myself how to make a podcast and all that stuff, and that was kind of fun.
Right.
But
But
it's not
see-
as fun as
right.
teaching yourself how to invest in stock.
But you could learn it.
for sure.
You could
I guess
definitely
I could.
learn
Yeah,
it.
I mean, I could.
I mean,
it's not above me.
Right.
Like above my
Right.
like intelligence level. I don't think.
Oh, for sure. Definitely not. Yeah, I mean, I think the key too with being in abundance is knowing your worth. Also knowing when to say no, because sometimes, there were a couple job opportunities I could have accepted, and I wouldn't have the job I have now. And I'm very happy that I wasn't in a position where I felt I had to say yes to a job I didn't necessarily want.
I hear a lot of artists talking about that. Like one of the a profound moment in a lot of artists' careers is when they can say no, because obviously you start off. Most artists are starting off broke. And at a point where it's like any gig, you kind of have to take it,
Right.
even if it seems like a stupid gig or you're not into it. If
The
that's
worst-
and it's like being able to say no and actually choose what you want to do is very powerful.
Right. The worst is when, and I can tell you this as someone who played in a rock band and jazz ensembles and played gigs. The worst is when people tell you, if you come down to, okay, well, what are we getting paid?
Oh, and exposure.
Exposure. It's like, great. Let me just write that when I need to pay my bills and repair my car and put food
Also,
on the
really,
table.
if we're evaluating how much like performing in front of 100 people is worth, as far as exposure goes, like how many of those people would you actually expect to like then be followers of you long term
or buy a CD,
right? Like that, like that, like 100 people watching me this one show. That's probably worth like $3.
Right.
If we're
Right. How much money you'll get? Right.
Yeah, exactly. From like exposure is
Right.
like what that would translate to.
And that's not going to pay your bills. That's not going to put food on the table.
Yeah, that's such a. I mean, I'm not a performing artist,
Right.
but I've definitely heard that's an old trope that a lot of artists have experienced before.
A really good one that I like, though, speaking of like saying no because of abundance, I think is Stevie Ray Vaughan, who's one of my favorite guitar players. So he actually played on David Bowie's record Let's Dance, and David Bowie wanted him to tour with him and all that stuff. And I think Stevie Ray Vaughan decided it would be better for him to start his own solo career, and that's what he did. And can you imagine saying no to David Bowie? One of the
that's a big
biggest
risk.
names in the music industry, and he had a prolific, solo guitar career with Stevie Ray Vaughan and Double Trouble, and I mean, as far as I'm concerned, one of the best blues guitar players to
And
go
that's
down
how
in
you
history.
actually you don't really make a name for yourself being a backup
Right.
for someone else.
Right. I mean,
for
it's the
someone
same with
else.
Jimi Hendrix. Jimi Hendrix was
Yeah.
backup for
A bunch
played
of
guitar for
oldies groups, like,
Little Richard,
like Earth, Wind &
Isley
Fire or something?
Brothers,
Or was it Isley Brothers?
Isley Brothers, yeah. But isn't that crazy though? But that's also I think the idea of abundance. If you operate in scarcity, it's like I have this gig right now, it's paying me right now, but sometimes you have to take that leap. You have to believe in yourself. And as you said, have courage.
Yeah.
It's really important with the idea of the abundance mindset.
Yeah. I feel like I hear this all the time, and I don't know what it's going to take for me to actually like for it to switch in my head, because I feel like I feel these things, but then I still just go back to the comfort. And it doesn't have to be one or the other, especially right now. But I just get so comfortable in the normal day-to-day paycheck and just let that sort of make me lazy as far as expanding my own wealth on my own.
Right, but it's definitely important. That's for sure.
Oh, I agree. I agree 100%,
Definitely.
dude.
Absolutely.
Please.
All right.
take it
Well,
away.
let us know how you keep an abundance mindset at untranslatablepodcast@gmail.com. You can find us on Instagram, Untranslatable Podcast. You can check out our stories and see some
betcha.
pictures of what we've been up to. Check us out on Twitter, Untranslatable1, the number 1, for lots of great retweets and our episodes there. Also, please check us out please give us a review on iTunes or Stitcher. 5 stars would be great, and let us know how we can make this podcast better for you. So, as we say here at the Untranslatable Podcast, dziękujemy, muchas gracias, shisha, and dos vidania. Hear that breeze? Stay breezy, people. Stay breezy.
Stay
That breeze
breezy.
is nice. You want to kick a soccer ball around for a minute?
Sure, dude.
It's got that nice weather out.
Yeah.